or homicidal. Just like suicidal if they knew they had to pay for it, or homicidal if they were like, nobody did this stuff before. It was crazy. It was actually kind of scary. It was depressing me. So yes, there's a lot of humor in my presentations, but I know I'm not too much worried about y'all. I'm really not, because y'all are Jack and Jill moms, and y'all got it all together, and y'all are like, y'all, no. And I don't mean to embarrass none of y'all. I don't mean to, because as I was putting this presentation together, I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I don't have to worry about that. And for some reason, and I may be dating myself just a little bit here, but back in the day, there was this commercial. It was, I don't even remember the product, but y'all probably know. It was like, it was this woman. She walked in a business suit, and as soon as she walked in the house, she like took off the jacket and she swung it around, and they started playing the theme music like, I can bring home the bacon, da-da-da, bring it up in the pan, da-da-da-da. See, and now get your romantic. See, that's what I'm saying. See, right there, that's what I'm talking about. I was like, and as I was putting it together and I was thinking about this audience, I was like, see, that's the Jack and Jill crew right there. I was like, all right. So, and that's why I put that up there. Because y'all are like super women. So a couple of y'all, when I heard y'all walk in here, I thought I heard theme music and stuff. I was like, all right. I was like, go ahead now, all right. So, but, and listen, that is a great thing to feel like. It really is, and you should feel that way. And every woman in this room, I'm sure that you deserve to feel that way. Here's the thing though. I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Here's the thing of it though. Sometimes that feeling, while I try and teach my daughters that they should feel that way and they should think that way and they should have that level of confidence in each and everything that they do, when it comes to elder care, sometimes that can be a little bit dangerous because it's hard. This is probably the single hardest job I have ever seen anyone have to do. And it is challenging, it is frustrating, it is tiring, it is emotionally exhausting, financially devastating sometimes if you don't prepare for it. But with all of that, and here's the, if you don't remember any other statistic that you see here today, remember this one number. Of the literally thousands of caregivers that I have interacted with over the years, I have never met one, not one, who regretted it in retrospect. And that is a powerful thing because I've come across a few people who did not step up and take care of mom or dad or whomever, and they are emotionally wrecked afterwards. I have an uncle. Seriously, all joking plans aside, I have an uncle. He's a good guy. This guy's got more money than he can ever spend. Retired probably 20 years ago. He's one of those folks that took one of those early retirement packages. In good health, but he never really stepped up. I took care of my grandmother, and this was his mom. They had some issues and, family dynamics, whatever. He didn't step up. When my grandmother passed away, this guy was so wrecked because he couldn't, once Nana was gone, there was nothing he could do. And I promise you, to this day, he pretty much just sits around. And we talk all the time, and he's always telling me, you know what, she keeps coming back to me at night. She won't let me sleep. And I'm like, no, okay, that's guilt. So I'm telling you, that guilt is real. I have seen it break people. So I'm just saying this, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but just throwing that out there. But anyway, here, let's talk about how elder care really impacts people, especially from the caregiver perspective. And these are the ones who actually do step up and care for mom and dad and so on and so forth. Really, there are 4 quadrants. Number 1, relationships. Those relationships really can be in terms of your spouses or significant others, your children, your siblings, so on and so forth. Number 2, financially. And let's just, what is this, right here? See those numbers right there? Most people have no idea how much elder care costs. So just so you know, Just so you know, these right here are national averages, right there.
The numbers, we can't see them back.
Oh, sure I will. I was about to say, you may not want to hear these numbers. So these are the national averages. Now remember, we live in the Northeast, so these numbers do not apply to us. So, but a private nursing home room, for 2018, a private nursing home room costs just over $98,000 per year. A semi-private room in an assisted living facility was just over $46,000 a year. Home care, depending upon the services that you get, anywhere between $40,000 and $80,000 a year. And adult daycare, I put that one in there even though it's not a residential sort of thing, but one of the techniques that I teach people is how to effectively use adult daycare to defer some of the costs of like home care. So I'll put that up there next to it. But even that is close to $27,000 a year. Now, I understand. Y'all are the bring home the bacon type of women. Y'all ain't worried about that. Y'all probably got bags of money sitting in front in the floor and y'all tripping over it trying to get in and out of the house. So y'all like, finally, something I can do with that stuff because it was getting on my damn nerves. I understand. But for most people, those are some pretty big numbers. And all joking and playing aside, we live in the Northeast. So that 98,000 right there does not apply to us. Brookdale Senior Living, right up the road here in West Orange, that $98,000 number is actually closer to 135. So pretty much add about 20% to almost all of those numbers. So this is why, remember I told you people would be out in the parking lot? This is why. But don't worry. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do so that those numbers will not be applicable to you. The thing of it is though, the people who avoid those numbers, believe it or not, are like people who, like wealthy people who pay people like me and hire very expensive lawyers to come in and teach them how not to pay those numbers. So, which is absolutely amazing. But that's another conversation for another day. So, here's the thing though. So let's see, we got to finance, we got to health. Health is the big one because you can always make more money, but you can't come back from the dead. So here we go. But just a couple of the big ones here. Depression, over 70% of caregivers end up having some sort of depression. Much like the people in this room right now. Trust me, we're gonna liven this up in just a second, but I gotta give you this stuff. High blood pressure, diabetes, pulmonary issues, cardiac issues, and realistically, all of those things come from, you get so focused, well, it's partly stress, and I'll tell you why in just a quick second, but it's partly stress, and it's partly because you're so focused on caring for mom and dad, you just don't care for yourself. You don't have time for it. And if you do squeeze out a minute for yourself, you start to feel guilty, like, why am I laying here on the couch when I could be over at mom's house doing da-da-da-da-da-da-da? And that one mentality, remember when I said about the whole superwoman thing? You gotta break that. And it comes down to one simple point. You know how like when you fly and they do the safety checks and they tell you like you can't, or to put the mask on yourself first before you try and put the mask on the person next to you? I used to think that that was the single most selfish thing I had ever heard. And I used to fly like 3 times a week until I got into this business. It's simple. You can't help the person sitting next to you if you've passed out from oxygen deprivation. It's just that simple. And it's exactly the same thing when it comes to elder care. You can't care for mom if you are in a sick bed next to her, or worse, in a grave. And it happens. So, you gotta take care of yourself first. Absolutely have to. And there's nothing selfish about it because at the end of the day, even if mom is in a nursing home or dad is in a nursing home or dad has a home care person or whatever, you will always be their primary caregiver. because you're the one making sure that everybody else does what they're supposed to be doing. So that being said, you got to take care of yourself. And there's nothing wrong with it. And then, of course, there is career. Career is big. As a general rule these days, I work for corporations. Corporations, either I'm going out and I'm helping their workforces understand how to deal with these sort of things, or I'm doing presentations like today. And Emblem Health is one of my endorsers, sponsors, whatever you want to call them. And so I'll give you some books, some caregiving books put out by Emblem. But 1 out of every 3 U.S. adults is dealing with an elder care challenge, right? 1 out of every 3. Black, white, Northerners, Southerners, Republicans, Democrats, does not matter. Once you get into the workplace, though, that number translates into 1 in 5 workers. Of that 1 in 5 workers, once they become caregivers to elderly loved ones, from a productivity standpoint, on average, productivity drops 18.5%. 70% of those people start having some type of work-related difficulties. This is the one that really cracks me up. The company-paid portion of their health care premiums on average go up 10%. Think about that. Remember we were talking about that whole high blood pressure, depression, diabetes, so on and so forth? That's the reason. So in the workplace, this will start to devastate you. And black folks in general, black women in particular, usually don't have that much wiggle room to begin with for one societal reason or another one. So this makes things so much worse. Now, I know, y'all are like, damn. Could have made this much simpler. Just, giving us big cups of arsenic and we could have been done with this already. No. When people start leaving, don't leave before we get to the good stuff. She's just,
I was waiting, like right